tournaments
right.
to have a few pros come out and get to know you guys a little bit more.
Okay.
So first off, I just want to say, and I really mean this, I just want to say thank you for coming. Bloomington is like this place in Indiana you probably have never heard of, and we're very fortunate to be able to have the ability to fly out players like you.
Yeah.
And I think one of the great things about doing this is sometimes tournaments are big, majors, thousands of people, and maybe players don't want to come up to you and ask you stuff because you're in the moment. You know,
Yeah.
I've already seen Druggedfox has his routine, and I respect that. And so people want to learn, like, how did you guys get good? And they don't want to bother you. So I think that's why it's great to do something like this.
Yeah, that's good. That's always good because I've had plenty of people tell me, like, I'm intimidated walking up to you. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro. I'm like everybody else. I'm just a normal dude. It's just that I'm good at this game.
Oh, yeah. So basically, I'm just going to toss out some questions, and feel free to jump in, and we'll go from there. And then we'll actually see if anybody from the audience has any questions.
Yeah, sure.
So the first one is, I'm always interested in this question, which is, you guys didn't just walk out one day and we're good.
Yeah.
You put in your time. So I want to hear first off is, what did that even look like for you? How did you realize, or what was your original practice routine to kind of get to the level you're at now?
Okay, I'll go first. So I forget if we talked about this, but I grew up in a city where there was no Smash scene pretty much. I was 12 or 13 years old, and it was just me and two friends who decided to play competitively together.
Yeah.
So for me, it looked like about 5 or 6 years of just the three of us playing. I did get to travel to like 1 or 2 tournaments. I actually managed to get second at my first tournament.
Nice.
But that was after like a couple of years of training super hard with my friends.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of how it went for me. It was very different than most people's experiences.
What were you doing with your 3 friends? Were you guys just grind out all day, every day?
So we were only in middle school, early high school at the time. So it was more like play on the weekends. But then during the week, I would literally I'd talk to like my best friends at school about Melee for like 2 hours or whatever. Go home. First thing I do is turn on the GameCube, call my friend, and then just like talk about Melee stuff while like practicing versus CPUs. And then once I was done practicing, I would just go on Smashboards and then message my friends and be like, all right, oh, check this thread out. Oh, here's this video. And I did that every single day for years.
Wow. I just got to pause real quick. I forgot to introduce you guys. Of course, on the far end, I got Druggedfox flying in from Georgia, and I got Ryo flying in from Florida. So I just want to say thank you again for coming. So your practice routine, and how did that look for you when you kind of realized, oh wow, I'm actually kind of good at this?
It all started off pretty bad, actually. I was the worst out of my group of friends.
Oh, no.
And I kept getting bodied. I'm like, all right, this got to stop. Like, and I would get loud. And then I would actually like just keep getting beaten. And then one day I just said, F it. I'm going to play this game the way I want to play the game. Like, I don't want to play Ike the same way that this Ike is playing it. So I became like that guy was like high risk, high reward. So it wasn't really like training per se. It was just literally giving up this like safety blanket of this is how a character should be played. So instead of me just being like, hey, I'm kind of like Renegade, wherever he is, like, I'm going to be Ryo because I don't want to be the same person as everybody else is looking at.
Well, that's actually really interesting. So
Yeah,
you
that's
kind
cool.
of you felt like I need to establish my own identity, and that's kind of how you made your breakthrough.
Yeah.
Wow, really cool. So I think one of the things I think for pros can be kind of annoying, but they understand it, is when a player asks them, okay, what do I need to do better? Right? And that's such a loaded question. So I'm going to basically throw that out you, but it doesn't have to be particularly in the game moment. But what is the best piece of advice you guys have for up-and-coming players?
Don't give up. Like, study. Like, watch. Like, I like to tell people, save your losses and your wins. You'll always understand why you won because you did it, but you'll never understand why you lost if you don't watch what you did.
Okay.
Like, what was somebody doing to you over and over? What's your consistent, bad habits? And another really big thing I tell people is, like, the one thing that people I think struggle with in Smash in general is understanding what options are. Like, everyone knows what moves are, but what's the best option during a certain moment? Because not everyone knows that.
Yeah, I think that can be a problem, right? Because people autopilot.
Exactly.
And they get frustrated and they don't feel like they're improving. It's because they're not forcing themselves to try out different things. And that's the grind. That's the part's the grind.
Exactly.
So essentially your question is like, what advice do I have for people to improve?
Yes, yeah.
I think two things. One, I think it's worth saying that I think anyone can improve at the game a lot. A lot of people think there's like talent and stuff. I mean, people are talented, but at the end of the day, I think the number one factor for improving is actually being very serious about improving. So many people, like, they're just like, I kind of want to get better, but like, you won't get better like that. Melee is, well, I can't speak for Smash 4 or Brawl, but for Melee, I don't think you can get good just kind of wanting to get good. You have to like actually really want it so badly, because there are hundreds, thousands of other people who do want it more than you. So like, I feel like if you don't want it, it's just, that's it. You know, it's really hard. The second piece of advice I have is being immersed in the game. So Melee is a game where there's essentially infinite situations. Even if you play the same, you'll never play the same match at Melee twice. Even if you're choosing all the same options in neutral and they are, you'll get all these different micro situations and stuff. And the only way to really learn all of those is to be completely immersed in the game. The more you talk about the game, the more you play the game, the more you watch the game, the more you'll just build up your knowledge base, your experience base. It's about building your intuition. I don't even need to consciously know like, oh, this is exactly where the Marth will be after this back air. It's just, if you've done it 10 million times, you just know. You don't even, if you have this feeling that like, oh, I need to attack here because he's about to move forward, you like that intuition can be built up from playing like nonstop, talking to people nonstop, etc.
Yeah, I think I try to share that with some of the people I play with. Is when we watch top players play and they do crazy things, what I always tell them is they've seen those options before.
Usually.
To us, it looks like, how did they even think about that? Well, it's because they practice so much and they know how to do it.
Yeah,
So I think that's great advice. So kind of some questions about the overall scene. I'll start with you, Ryo. Just kind of almost like an oddball question is, how would you describe the Smash 4 scene?
Loud, crazy. I feel like whenever I watch or are a part of the what's going on in the moment with Smash 4, coming from Brawl, like Brawl is like everyone was still kind of crazy, but we all had a lot of respect. But I feel like in Smash 4, there's so much more to prove. So everyone's just kind of like the next person's talking crap just because they want to talk crap. So then you're like playing a match, someone's like, "Yo, did you know that Ryo's thing is small?" You're like, "What?"
That's random.
Like, why would you say that? But like, there's just like right now the scene, everyone wants to be the king of the hill.
Yeah.
So I feel like the scene right now is very competitive. It's very fresh. It's still very new. That even with like how the metagame is progressing, like there's still a lot to it. Like I felt like with Brawl, it was so linear. Like you had all these advanced ATs, but it was still Meta Knight just doing Meta Knight things. But in this game, like someone new just steps up. Like every time you go to a tournament. Like I went to CEO, watch like all the best players just get shit on. Pardon me for saying that in the first place, but like it's getting dumped on, and it was just like, who are these people doing this? Like, and there are people you would never expect. So like, the Smash 4 scene's still a little baby. It's been out for like 2 years, but then like I can look at Melee, and it's so well established. Like everyone knows everybody else, and like no one's like super disrespectful except for like Chillin, and then Chillin got bodied by Leffen. But
I love that's your go-to right there. Yeah.
But like it's just there's a lot more respect in Melee, while in Smash 4 people are trying to make a name because now with esports being a part of it, you have to do so much more in order to do it. But then you look at this game and it's like, well, this person deserves it because look at what they've done. While in Smash 4, it's like next week that guy's gonna get beat, so he doesn't deserve like a sponsorship. So everyone's aiming for a sponsorship instead of trying to just get better. I feel like nowadays. So King of the Hill equals sponsor. Yeah. So you got to do something. But a lot of people, I feel like, forget that this is still a game. So like you got to get good because you want to get good and you love the game. Don't be like, well, I'm Kingpin, so respect me because I could lose today. Yeah. Like, and that's just because of the way things are. So,
well said. Actually, I'm very surprised. I learned a lot from that. I didn't realize that's kind of been how the scene has been going. So interesting. Yeah. How would you describe the Melee scene?
In general,
in general, yeah. What comes to mind?
I don't know. Melee scene in general. I think of a bunch of absurdly dedicated people or obsessed people. That's what I think of when I think of Melee. I think of like. I think I heard this on Summit. Or no, it was you talking to me. But I remember Lovitch said something that reminded me of it too. When you said homemade waffles flew in, he's here at 2 a.m, and then you're like, hey, want to play Melee? And the answer is always yes. That's the number one thing I think of when I think of Melee players. There's just this crazy, like, you can't not play Melee. Like, every Melee player, they always want to play Melee. Like, there's always something to look forward to. When I go home from this tournament, I'm going to get my friend to pick me up. We're going to play Melee. Like, I don't know. That's just what I think of when I think of the Melee scene.
And I think that kind of goes back to the question we had earlier is the players who love Melee, who are in the scene competitively, and players who play Smash 4 who are in it competitively, they put in their time. When you go home, like you said, you're probably going to play. And that's why you're at the top. And I think people forget that if I want to get good, I do need to put in that grind. So, again, I want to hear from both of your perspectives. Start with you, Ryo. Where do you see the Smash 4 scene going? What's the next step? Or where would you like it to see, where would you like to see it go? I
would like to see it grow, be almost where like some of the other big esports games are. I think it has the potential to do it, but it's all up to us. Like we all have to keep it alive, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Because like I said, the game is growing, but if it reaches a certain point where it just kind of just stops, and then the game dies. Melee, I feel like, again, bringing up your perfect game, but bringing up Melee, you can watch it 1,001 times, like you said, and I can see the same thing that I saw last tournament, but it's still really hype. Yeah. It's so fast-paced. The players, I think about this, all the time, how the hell do you guys think of those options like that? It's just stupid. It's stupid. Watching S2J play against Westballs at EVO, he got that knee, and he did side B into knee again. I was like, no, that's stupid. That's absolutely stupid. But I can see it becoming something really big, as long as the people, and Nintendo, because Nintendo has to be behind it too, if the people as a community keep the game alive and keep fighting for it, because it's still, like I said, it's brand new, it's still a baby. Okay. But with it being so small, or young, it's huge. And as long as we keep that up, it's not going to disappear like Brawl did. Brawl was there for a long time, but it didn't need to, in all honesty.
I agree with you. I'm still continually pleasurably surprised to see those high numbers for Smash 4 entrants at these large-scale tournaments, and I definitely don't think it's going to be dying out anytime soon, and it's going to get even higher. So I think that's great. What about you, Druggedfox? Where do you see what's the next step for Melee?
Pretty much the same answer. Mine is the fact that in the Smash 4 case, they have to keep the scene growing, keep it alive. I feel like with Melee, there's no real worry of us dying anytime soon because we have the people. We already know everyone's going to put in 110% effort to keep this game alive. But the real question is, can we get bigger? We are getting bigger, but I almost feel like it's slowed down a little bit since maybe last year where we were still booming before. Now I don't really feel the increase in size as much. A lot of it comes down to if Nintendo wants to support us. Because at the end of the day, do companies really want to sponsor Smash when at any point Nintendo could be like, oh, we don't want you guys to stream this anymore. And we can't do anything about that, right?
Yeah.
And remember that we had that little ordeal at EVO or something where that almost happened. Yep. But then since then, they seem to be positive about it. They endorsed Genesis 3, and it seems like they haven't jumped on the boat and helped us, but they haven't hurt us either. So, but until they actually give a thumbs up, I feel like sponsors are still going to be sort of wary of joining, which I don't think they need to be because I don't think Nintendo will do anything. But of course, if you're a multi-million-dollar company, you don't want to be like, oh, we're going to put all our money into this thing that may or may not be fruitful. It's obviously a bad idea. Yeah. So I think that's the big thing for Melee.
Okay. Yeah, a couple things you mentioned is actually, I was interested when you said last year, or maybe after last year, was when you kind of felt like it maybe plateaued a little bit. And when I think about that, I think about Genesis 3. Genesis 3 comes out, and it almost creates a whole new standard right above EVO of what Smash can be, right, for both games. And maybe we haven't had that since, right? And we're looking for the next over the top. How big can we make this thing, right? What can we sell out kind of deal?
Yeah.
So I look forward to something like that. Hopefully, it doesn't plateau.
4.
Genesis 4, yeah.
Big House happened. It was pretty hype, honestly, but it still doesn't feel like it's bigger anymore. It's just we've reached this level, and that's sort of where we're at.
Yeah, I want to, let's get into a basketball stadium or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
just
one thing I'd actually really like to see for Melee, I remembered, is more static doubles teams at a high level, and more doubles sponsorships. Like you have Alliance and you have CLG, and that'd be awesome. I really think it would help bring viewers if we had consistent teams.
Yeah. What's your viewpoint on that? Druggedfox had mentioned that to me. What's doubles like in the Smash 4 scene for you?
Hype.
Okay.
Just straight up hype. I love it. I feel like with Smash 4, or in general with Smash, doubles should be looked at as being one of the bigger things. Because like while singles is amazing, doubles showcases so much more to me. Like between players, like watching PFAT play or. I don't know who else is a really good team. I just love
UGS. I'm on Android.
Yeah, no, that's stupid. That's different. But like,
That's another level.
Like watching that, like they took their time to do that. Like singles singles is cool, but doubles is a whole nother monster that people don't know, like don't grasp yet. Like with Smash 4, like me and Soul, Ike and Little Mac, people are like, oh, these characters are bad on their own, but then you put them together and like we got ninth at Genesis 3. People are like, what the hell just happened? I don't like the look of this at all. Like we got ninth at CEO 2015. We got ninth at Genesis. Like we get like top placings because like we took the time to understand doubles. A lot of people don't. They just think like, if I go in here and do 2 individual 1v1s, we should be fine. And then that one team is like, try me. And like they do that individual 1v1, knock that one guy over, and then you have a 2v1 going over here, and that guy's just dead. Like it just like, well, how'd that happen? Like doubles, I think needs to have more appreciation.
Okay. Yeah. I personally am a fan of doubles, so whatever it needs to grow, I'd love to see that too. So I'm going to ask a question, see if anybody out here has any questions, and then we'll think about closing. So, best tournament experience and why?
Ooh. I think we both got to think for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. Take a second.
Do you mean like quality of the tournament, or do you mean like my personal like? Or
Maybe it has a spot in your heart for some reason. I want to hear that reason. Sure. Go ahead. Take your time.
Yeah, sorry. This is going to take a second. There have honestly been a bunch of good tournaments.
Okay. And if anybody in the audience has any questions, we're going to take questions from anybody in the audience too.
I have like 3 tournament experiences, which would be CEO 2015, because that's when me and Soul first became a team. And we got ninth, and we beat a lot of people that no one expected us to beat.
Okay.
Super Smash Con because of me versus Abadongo. Like that was one of the most hyped sets I've ever played. And what's another really good one? I had a third one. Oh, MLG final round.
Okay.
I beat a lot of people, got 7th place, and then no one expected an Ike player to be top 8 at that tournament. And then I beat like 6WX and a bunch of other like top level players. And everyone's like, really? Really? You're going to do that to us? You're going to come through here, just body all of us? So I don't know. I can't have one. I have like 3.
That's all right. So it seems like the theme in yours is when you were able to overcome what people didn't maybe expect much, especially with the character, and you were able to prove them wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sweet.
Right.
Druggedfox still thinking?
Yeah, so I guess there's sort of 2 perspectives on this. One is it's hard to not enjoy a tournament that you perform well at.
Exactly.
Sure. Well, I'd love to hear about that. And what was
so the 2 tournaments. So everyone always brings up Evo 2015 for me, but
I already brought it up.
Yeah, that was definitely not my best performances. My best performances were probably HTC, where I got 4th in singles and 4th in teams, which I got 4th in teams with Cobol, only losing to 1st and 2nd place. And then I beat Mango that tournament, beat SFAT, beat Cobol, beat a ton of other people. It was a one-day, 400-man tournament or something. So
that was a long day.
It was a ridiculous tournament. We played the entire day. So that was cool. And then winning tipped off 11 from losing round 1 of the bracket to Drunk Sloth was probably one of the cooler moments for me. I mean, just making a whole run through losers, beating all these top players. That was definitely sick. It also was in my home state. So winning in my home state, finally, it was like the first tipped off that a Georgia player won in years. So that felt good. In terms of experience, though, outside of that, I really like the tournaments where there's absolutely no stress involved at all. So like Smash the Record type of tournament.
Oh, okay.
I honestly dislike that at tournaments I don't feel like I can play friendlies the whole time. I feel like I need to just focus on the bracket. Like today I barely played friendlies. I played doubles and then I sat down, But at something like Smash the Record, I can just go ham and play 24-hour venue, play for 48 hours straight, I'm down. And I like stuff like that a lot.
Cool. And, I think something with that, too, is you get to embrace the community a bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually get to socialize with the other players instead of always trying to beat each other, as you were saying earlier with the Smash 4 scene. So
that's always you're always trying to beat the other guy. And
I
really like, I don't have to, as much as I like competing, I also love just the game, the people. A lot of people are here just, they're so competitive, but I actually feel like even if there wasn't the competition aspect, just being around all these people, just playing Melee, I'm down. I don't need a tournament to go somewhere to play.
Yeah.
Same.
All right. So, anybody have any questions from the audience? Okay, we got one over here.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then put it down gently after you turn it off.
Hey, okay. I actually want to go into more detail.
Uh-oh. Nice.
Hey, I kind of want to ask Louis' question in more detail. Talking about your favorite tournament moments. Do you have for either of you, do you have like a specific play or like specific highlight that sticks with you across all your tournaments?
Arjuna, did you mean to repeat the question? Or?
Okay, so
No, okay.
if I'm understanding correctly, you're asking if there's any like just moment in a game that we will remember. Almost definitely. You just need to give me a second to decide like what the most like. Are you also? Do you have anything
I
in
mean,
mind already?
I have like a couple little things. But
Okay, you can go ahead if you know. If you don't know, we can take a second to think.
Okay, Super Smash Con, one of my biggest highlight moments, besides the Abadonga, I'll go into that one because the moment in there was pretty funny. I was playing against Esam with my Corrin, and he had me down super far. And he starts thunder jolting. I'm like, I'm just going to counter all of these. Like, I'm not going to stop. So he just counter. I'm like, here comes another one, counter. And I'm like, shoot one more, see what happens. And he up B's towards me, counter, died. And I'm like, you're bad. Like, why would you approach me? Like, I was really happy, but on screen you couldn't see. Like, I just seemed so like, stone face Jackson all over everybody's face.
Yeah.
But inside I'm like bodied. Like I just didn't want to be a jerk about it.
Yeah.
And then the moment coming after that, which also is a good follow up on that match. ECM comes up to me after he plays one more set with somebody else. He's like, "You're the reason I lost and I'm out of the tournament." I'm like, "Well, not my problem. On to bigger and better things." Yeah. And the other thing was just being able to play Roy at Super Smash Con. And here's a funny story about that, which no one really knows. People are like, "Yo, you chose Roy because you think Roy's the bomb." I'm like, "No, actually, someone in the audience was like, 'Go Roy! Roy's our boy.'" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it." Like, I didn't have an answer for Abadongo at the time, and then I started beating with Roy. I'm like, "Oh, all right, well, whoever you are back there, you are my angel for the day." So I got to showcase that this character isn't bad. Again, that's like my theme is, this character's awful. I'm like, let me play him for like, give me like a week. I'll be right back. And then just a week later, I'm just like,
Hey, that's...
But the other one would be, which isn't my moment. This is actually my fiance's moment. There was a crew battle. It was girls, like a girl crew battle. Her whole entire team got knocked out. They still had 5 people. She got them down to the last person with their last stock. And it was the most amazing thing in the world. And I gave her like the biggest kiss ever. And this music started playing. We started dancing and stuff. But I was just so proud to see her do that because like everyone kept telling her like, "You're not going to be able to bring this back. Like it's over." And all the other girls on her team kept saying it. She's like, "I'm not going to stop. Like I'm not going to stop until it's over." And then she just kept going. And she missed one read. And I was like the proudest guy in the world.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
Druggedfox, you got something?
Yeah. So my most memorable moment in any Melee tournament match is from Tipped Off 7. It was a Falco Ditto between me and Dr. PP, and I'm down game 1, I lose, and then game 2, I'm in control the entire game, and I'm beating him the entire time, and finally last stock comes, I bait him into jumping or something, he comes down with a downer, and I backyard him off the stage, and he couldn't make it back at that point, but as usual, when you hit someone off stage with Falco, you usually jump and like fire a couple lasers just to make sure. And he literally couldn't land on stage, and I go for full hop triple laser, and on the last laser, I just drift slightly too far, and I slip off the stage with the laser, and he side B's back and edge hugs me, and the game was over, and that's probably my most memorable tournament moment ever. Like the entire room's like so hype, like okay, you're about to beat Dr. PP game 2 Falco Dittos, and there's just this silence, and it was like it's definitely the loudest silence of my life. There was probably a solid 3 seconds or so of just no one said a word. And then, like, one of my best friends just yells out, "You piece of shit," really loudly. It was really funny, actually, because that's, like, what he just said, like, what I felt in that moment.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so that's
All
probably the most memorable. I mean, there are a lot of good moments, but I don't think anything good that I've ever done in a tournament, like, usually when I do something good, it's just, like, in line with whatever I'm doing.
Sure.
But, that stood out to me because that had never happened to me in like 10 years of playing the game or whatever at the time, maybe 8. and it's probably never going to happen to me ever again.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
thank you for sharing those moments. I enjoy those. Let's take one more question, and then I think we'll transition here. If anybody else has a question. Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think with that, we're going to close out. I just want to say thank you again for sharing some of your experiences and maybe letting the viewers get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Again, I appreciate you guys coming out to Bloomington. And then we're going to actually get ready to move into top 32 bracket for Smash 4 and Melee.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Can I do one shout out?
Please.
All right. I would like to do a shout out to my sponsor, Noble, because they're awesome. Where's Renegade? Where is he? Where's Renegade?
Renegade. You out here, Renegade?
Whatever. If he's not here, he knows that he lost an Ike Ditto. Just saying
on
that.
blast.
Just
Okay.
saying it. I'm just saying. And I'd like to shout out to everybody in the building, especially you for asking a question. I love you right now. Mwah. And thank you very much for letting me come out, everybody. You too. Thank you. Thank you to you.
Yeah, it's been cool meeting you.
I mean, you're pretty cool yourself. I mean, I can't help that. But last one would be to Roy, because no one's going to kill him at this tournament. So that would be, I'm making sure of that. So
All right.
that's the last shout out.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Very cool.